Hello, and welcome, creeps. You're listening to the Umbra Tapes, where we dive into unsolved mysteries, disturbing cases, and the downright weird. I'm Gabby.
And I'm Leah. Thanks for creeping in.
If you're enjoying the podcast, don't forget to like, subscribe, and click the notification bell so you never miss a new episode. New episodes are released every Friday. Follow the Umbra Tapes on your favorite social media platforms for sneak peeks and updates. If you'd like your small business featured in one of our episodes, or if you have a spooky story or a paranormal encounter to share with our listeners, click the link in the description below to send it our way. Now, let's creep into this week's episode.
For this week's small business feature, we wanted to highlight Unpleasant Dreams by Ari. Ari is a talented Buffalo artist, creating original paintings and merchandise inspired by horror, music, and alternative culture.
What began as a small project at just 16 years old, Ari has steadily grown into a business that has found a home within Buffalo's alternative community. Today, every piece sold helps support the artist's journey through college while bringing original horror-inspired artwork to fans who appreciate it. If you've ever wanted a piece made just for you, Unpleasant Dreams also offers custom commissions. Whether it's your favorite horror icon, musician, or an original idea, simply send a message through any of her social media pages to discuss pricing, subject matter, canvas size, and timeline. Mention the code UMBRA10 when you book your commission and you'll receive 10% off your custom artwork. One of our favorite parts of the Umbra Tapes is highlighting independent artists who keep horror culture thriving. I'd really encourage you to check out Unpleasant Dreams, give her a follow, and support a local artist who's creating something truly unique.
This is part 3 of our 4-part series where we're deep diving into the Warrens and their most famous cases. If the parent investigation made the Warrens respected within paranormal circles, Amityville would make them international celebrities. It would also become the case that permanently divided believers and skeptics. Because beneath the ghosts, the demons, and the best-selling books lay allegations of financial desperation, legal maneuvering, and one of the most controversial horror stories ever told. To understand the haunting, we first have to understand the murders, because unlike the ghost story that followed, those 6 deaths are not in dispute. They happened, and they forever changed the quiet neighborhood on Long Island. So I feel like the Amityville house could be sitting up there with the most famous slashers in history because of how iconic it is.
Yeah, and I heard that they changed the address and the actual front of the house because there were so many people that would stop to look and take photos of this house, and someone actually lives there. So it's really irritating, I'm sure. Just like the house from Hocus Pocus.
Oh yeah, for sure.
People stop but they don't care.
What's even funnier about it though is the people who live there, they have no claims of paranormal living there. If anything, the only nuisance is looky-loos. People stopping at their house, breaking into their house, doing weird, creepy shit. If this was just your house that was spooky and people just stopped on your lawn to take pictures. Could you imagine how unsettling that is?
I honestly don't think I could ever move in there knowing what happened but the people that live there, they probably, I would imagine they don't really believe in it, because if it was you and me, we'd have some Ouija boards out. We're trying to talk to Ronnie DeFeo and all these people.
We would be making a spectacle of it.
Yes. Yeah. And I would be charging $20 a head to come in. I'd be yeah, you could take a tour.
The Conjuring house itself. I mean, that's a whole destination right now.
Yeah. People travel across the country just to see this one little rinky-dink house. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And this one is, I would argue, more famous.
Far more iconic than that, yeah. It was just after 3 o'clock in the morning on November 13th, 1974. Inside a large Dutch colonial home overlooking the canal in Amityville, 23-year-old Ronald DeFeo Jr., better known as Butch, picked up a .35 caliber Marlin lever-action rifle. Over the course of only a few minutes, he walked from bedroom to bedroom, systematically killing his family as they slept. His father, Ronald DeFeo Sr., his mother, Louise DeFeo, his sisters, Dawn and Allison, his younger brothers, Mark and John Matthew. 6 people, yet one mystery immediately baffled investigators. None of the victims appeared to have fought back. There were no signs of forced restraint, no evidence that anyone had fled. Neighbors reported hearing nothing. Even today, the exact sequence of events continues to generate debate. After the murders, Butch calmly showered, disposed of his bloody clothing, and reported to work. He He called home throughout the day pretending he couldn't reach his parents. Then, shortly after 6:30 that evening, he burst into Henry's bar screaming, "You've got to help me. I think my mother and father have been shot." It was a performance that lasted only a matter of hours. Detectives quickly dismantled his timeline. Faced with mounting evidence, Butch confessed. His explanation would echo through paranormal history for decades. "Once I started, I just couldn't stop." Later, his legal defense introduced a different claim. Butch insisted he had heard voices inside the house, voices commanding him to kill. Psychiatrists hired by the prosecution rejected the explanation. They concluded that he suffered from behavioral disorders and extensive substance abuse, but was legally responsible for his actions. The jury agreed. He was convicted on 6 counts of second-degree murder and sentenced to 6 consecutive life sentences. For most people, that should have been the end of the story. Instead, it became the beginning of a legend. Honestly, the thing about this case that still disturbs me to this day, and it is the one thing I cannot map out, is how every person in that house was laying face down.
Oh, were they?
Yes.
I didn't know that. But I would imagine too, like after the first gunshot, I would immediately woke up.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't understand.
The 6 people?
Yeah.
At least one person, I mean, the little boy could have heard it. I mean, if I hear a pin drop,
he moved them. And because he couldn't look them in the eyes when he did it.
There was no evidence of that because
even... How would you tell if he flipped them around? No, before he killed them.
So what? Like, you better face down or I'm going to shoot you?
Yes.
I suppose maybe that is a solid theory.
Yeah.
Because how else would we know? But let's say you hear your brother yelling from across the room, across the hall, like, "You better stay or I'm going to shoot you." Like, you're 8 years old. Like,
well, exactly.
Aren't you going to jump up? Are you going to hide? Are you going to try and run to the neighbor's house? You're just going to lay in bed?
If you're 8 years old, maybe.
No,
with somebody that you trusted.
But you hear him yelling, "I'm going to shoot my parents."
Did he say that?
No, but
I guess I would. I don't know
that's your theory.
Yeah, I'd have to look at the facts of the case, but I think that entire case is like extremely interesting because just the sheer 6 people is a lot of people, and he admitted once he started he couldn't stop. I don't get that. I'll never understand that. That is a very fine line between psychotic and just sadistic,
I definitely think that he knew what he was doing, and he might have been on drugs or whatever, but obviously he had planned to take out his entire family. Like, that was clearly his plan. But I can understand being mad at your mother and father or whatever. I mean, there's cases of kids murdering their parents all the time, but your entire family,
right? Your
little brothers, your little sisters, it's just... The only thing that still disturbs me, though, is that not a single person was moved from their bed. That is the only thing that gives this case, credibility for being paranormal to me.
Okay, that's fair.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. And I think the whole thing where he heard voices telling him to do this, I don't agree with that. I think that it was just something that the defense told him to say. And because it really is, insane to believe somebody could actually commit that without being crazy. Commit those many murders without being crazy. Yeah, especially in your family. It's one thing to people you don't even know, but your whole family, it's insane. It's insane.
I really don't know what his true explanation was for it. I mean, I guess he talked about it in later interviews or whatever after accepting his fate, but no matter what, there's no explanation for murdering your entire family.
No, and he tried to cover it up in a way by screaming, help me.
Absolutely.
And then obviously overtook him and he confessed to everything.
Yeah.
But he thought about it. He definitely thought about it. If that was
his defense, though, it's weird that they brought that up considering there was no previous evidence of paranormal activity within the house or that there was demons or entities. The DeFeo family never talked about there being paranormal activity within their home.
Did he have any mental illnesses diagnosed?
Was he schizophrenic? He had behavioral issues, and they said he was
Well, hearing voices and having behavioral issues are not the same, but
this is true.
The drugs can enhance
it,
issues
absolutely.
that he may have had. So I get that. So yeah, I guess we'd really have to deep dive into the case, but
I mean, even if you do deep dive into the case, I don't think there's any explanation that he could say or anything that would come across as like a reasonable excuse.
Oh no, not reasonable. Just as more of a why.
Yeah,
not like an excuse, but like just a why.
We'll never know why.
No. Right.
On December 18th, 1975, just over 1 year after the DeFeo murders, another family walked through the front door of 112 Ocean Avenue. George and Kathy Lutz, along with Kathy's 3 children, Daniel, 9, Christopher, 7, and Melissa, 5. The house was valued well below comparable homes in the area because of its recent history. The family knew what happened there. They believed they could live with it. After all, the murders were over. The killer was in prison. A house, no matter how tragic its past, couldn't hurt anyone. Or so they thought. According to George and Kathy Lutz, their first night in the home was unsettling. Not because they saw an apparition, but because they felt something was simply wrong. Soon after moving in, they invited a Catholic priest to bless their residence. The priest later stated that while blessing an upstairs bedroom, he believed he heard a voice tell him to get out. According to his account, he chose not to alarm the family and quietly finished the blessing before leaving. The Lutz family would later claim they experienced a series of disturbing events over the next 28 days. George reportedly began waking every morning at approximately 3:15 a.m., roughly the same time the investigators believed the DeFeo murders had occurred. He described feeling compelled to wander through the house, often checking the boathouse outside, despite the freezing New York winter. Friends later remarked that George's personality appeared to change. He became withdrawn, short-tempered, and obsessed with keeping the fireplace burning despite the home's already functioning heating system. According to Kathy, unexplained cold spots appeared throughout the house. Doors opened on their own. Strange odors drifted through the otherwise empty rooms. The youngest child, Missy, spoke frequently of an imaginary friend she called Jody. She described Jody as a large pig-like creature capable of changing its appearance. George and Kathy later claimed that they saw glowing red eyes staring through the windows from outside. Other reported phenomenon became even stranger. The family described swarms of flies appearing in the middle of winter. A thick green substance reportedly oozed from the keyholes in the walls. Kathy later claimed she awoke to find herself levitating above the bed. George would later say he briefly watched his wife's face transform into an elderly woman before returning back to normal. Whether these events occurred exactly as described remains impossible to independently verify. All that remains are the accounts of those who said they lived through them. Some of their claims are just wild.
Bull-faced lies? Yeah, like keyholes oozing and pig imaginary friends. Like, that's wild. Unless was there like mold in the house and they were like seeing some fucking hallucinations?
That would be a solid estimation on what actually was happening. But I there's no reports of that, but maybe. Either way,
wild.
Like, let's say you get some black mold in your house. It usually doesn't turn green. It's usually like black spots like on your wall.
No, I'm saying made him like see shit.
And shit, yeah.
And it would make sense as far as like George's like mood constantly changing, because that does have an effect on that also. I don't know. But I think some of those claims are just wild.
The one that gets me the absolute most is the slime oozing from the keyholes in the walls. Like, get over yourself. The only thing that I think quite possibly could have been a thing is Missy talking about her imaginary friend.
Yeah, but the mom, she was floating like drugs.
No,
I don't know.
Everything is immediately drugs.
That's so unbelievable.
Yeah.
I don't know. And do you think that they did, so they knew about the murders and everything like that. Was this was a famous case at the time, yet the house was for sale for less.
Yes.
Which is kind of weird. Like, I get it because people were killed in it, but it's also a famous house now in a way because was on the news.
I think maybe it's looked at a little differently, especially before like the Amityville horror came out. At this point, it's just a home that a horrific murder occurred in. So I would say that, they do have to disclose that to the owners, and the price probably would be reduced because they would have a hard time finding sellers or buyers.
Well, Do you think that, I mean, they obviously knew about it, but do you think that they were doing these things and saying these things and playing it up because they wanted it to become a famous house? Because they wanted people to come?
Yeah, you might have hit the nail on the head there.
Yeah.
That's my estimation of it.
That's what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I would do. I would be terrified to move in there, but if I was going to move in there, then I would just do the same thing. I feel like only because it's like, for me personally, like, that's an interesting thing. Yeah. Like, my house
you're
is
into like true crime and horror and whatever.
Yes, but like maybe someone who is not like an old couple who's just like, no, leave me alone. Like the people that live there now, they don't want anybody to do anything. I would imagine
they do have some type of maybe fascination with the macabre, because you don't just buy the Amityville house if you have absolute zero interest in it.
Okay, totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. Wanting to be left alone. I do
agree that you shouldn't have your privacy violated, absolutely, regardless of the home you live in.
But I would just maybe leave once a week and let people tour it.
Like Airbnb it. Yeah. Probably make a fucking fortune doing that. My goodness.
Yeah, but money isn't everything to people that have it, I guess. If you could buy the Amityville house, you probably don't need the money. So
the only other thing that I question in this is, like, sold the house only a year after the murders. So it's like the house didn't sit on the market like super long in order for them to be like, we'll greatly reduce the price
too, which is a sought after place to live and right on the ocean.
Yeah, it's a beautiful house. Yeah,
so I get it. If it's worth dealing with the people that died in it, then if it's a steal and you need a place, if it's big for the 3 kids they have, and
So now I know, like you said, you would live in the Amityville house, but you wouldn't be afraid of any type of paranormal. You would, but you would still live there.
And I'm very, very, very on the fence about witchcraft, but I would do some like salt around my doors and like dream catchers. Like I need like little things like that. So then why live there
if you would be terrified of it?
I don't know, because it's just so fascinating. I would want to like be able to like invite people in and
you want to make a penny.
Make a penny, but also like how cool is it though? Yeah. Like to be owned, like if I owned the Amityville house.
You think about how old, like even your house here, you said it was built in the 1800s?
Yeah, 1880.
This place had to have seen some freaking death.
I know. Yeah, I want to know more about the house. I don't know.
Like, is it possible that when George had described waking up at 3:15 in the morning that there was some type of like psychic energy within the house, like it was replaying a memory of the trauma? Like we were talking about how walls have memories.
Yes. So I can agree and disagree with that. And I agree with it because that time frame is generally when those types of things,
the witching hour.
The witching hour. Yes. Which I believe in that because I wake up around 3:30 like every single night. Exact same time. Like,
what, just not pee, or what do you do? You just
I just wake up. Just wake up. I look at the time. That's what time it is, and I go back to bed. Swear to God, like between 3 and 3:30 every night.
That's wild.
So and it's not because someone died in my house.
You sure?
I don't know.
Are you sure?
Okay, it wasn't because 6 people were murdered in my house that I knew about. Like, I can agree and disagree with that for sure.
I mean, I think that walls do hold memories. I don't know if they could psychoactively like reproduce what happened within them, but
I think the witching hour is very I really heavily believe in that because that is absolutely when like the weirdest things happen. It's absolutely. Like around 3 a.m.
I actually had a paranormal experience in my house the other night.
Stop.
Yes.
No, because don't tell me because I stay there.
Stop.
Sometimes.
So we're sleep training my son, and we wanted to allow him to like get up at night to go to the bathroom, but I wanted to be like notified about it. So we put like one of those door alarms on, and it would go beep, beep, beep if the door was opened.
Okay.
So I'm in my bedroom and I'm sitting there and I'm playing video games, and I heard this like clatter in the hallway, and I was like, what the fuck was that? But I just went back to playing my video games. I was like, no part in that. But so like 20 minutes goes by and I get up to like fill my water bottle or whatever. And I'm walking down the hallway and I see the alarm on the floor. Like broken open with the batteries out of it and all that. But so much more than that, the alarm was off the door. And then the piece that because it's a magnet connectivity, when the door opens, that's what engages the alarm.
Yeah.
The other magnet piece was ripped forward. Yeah, dude, I was a little freaked out.
Well, did he pull the door open?
That's what I thought, but I would have heard him on the baby monitor.
Yeah, trying to play if he's ripping the door off.
He was sleeping.
Ah.
Yeah, so I was a little spooked,
unless, and okay, I know when people say it was the wind. No, but straight up, the suction of the wind in some way, if a window blew and then it blew like a door, and because your walls are thin. Mm-hmm. But in my bathroom, that's happened where I shut the bathroom door, and if the window opens, well, my shower, there has the plastic on the shower, and if it suctions. Yeah, and the shower knocks shit off the shower all the time.
I would say that is my theory, but the only problem I have with that is that this thing is one of those foam sticker things, and it's stuck on there to the point I cannot take it off anymore. I stuck it back on there, and I cannot get it off. It is so sticky.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know. I did want to try to rationalize it, and I was hoping it would talk me out of it, but you didn't.
Well, honestly, it could have been the wind. I don't know. I don't know. My stuff gets knocked in the shower all the time.
You'll have to look at it when you come over, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Yeah. And you'll probably be like, girl, no. Then, on January 14th, 1976, just 28 days after moving in, the Lutz family abandoned the house. They left everything behind. According to the family, they fled with little more than the clothes that they were wearing. Within weeks, their story became national news. Television crews descended on Amityville. Newspapers competed for interviews. Publishers recognized the potential for a bestseller. America had become fascinated by one simple question: could a house become evil? As media attention intensified, another figure quietly re-entered the story: William Weber, the attorney who had defended Ronald DeFeo Jr. during his murder trial. Weber had spent months immersed in the details of the DeFeo case. Crime scene photographs, witness interviews, psychiatric reports. In later interviews, Weber claimed that after the Lutz family left the home, he, along with Kathy and George, discussed the haunting extensively. Weber alleged that many aspects of the now famous story were developed collaboratively while the three talked over a bottle of wine. George Lutz consistently denied fabricating the haunting and rejected Weber's characterization of those conversations. The conflicting accounts have remained one of the central controversies surrounding the Amityville story ever since. Supporters of the Lutz family argue Weber had every reason to distance himself from the case after losing the DeFeo trial. Skeptics point to Weber's statements as evidence that portions of the haunting narrative evolved through the discussion rather than direct experience. More than 50 years later, there is no universal agreement, only competing versions of the same story. Questions also emerged regarding the Lutz family financial situation. Several journalists reported that George's surveying business had been struggling around the time the family left Amityville. Some critics suggested financial pressure may have influenced their decisions. Shortly after leaving the house, many lucrative publishing opportunities quickly appeared. The Lutz family consistently denied that money motivated their claims. Regardless of motive, there is little dispute about what happened next. The haunting became a business. Author Jay Anson worked closely with the Lutz family to produce The Amityville Horror, published in 1977. The book became an international bestseller. 2 years later, Hollywood adapted it into a feature film. Millions of people who had never heard of Ocean Avenue suddenly knew the address by heart. The house had become a cultural phenomenon, and it was precisely at that moment that Ed and Lorraine Warren entered the picture. So what do you think happened here?
They definitely played it up. They left 28 days after they purchased this house because of all this insane activity going on and da-da-da-da. Now, couple questions that I'm thinking here. If the activity that they are explaining sounds, I wouldn't go as far as saying demonic, but I wouldn't say that it's friendly either, necessarily. Like oozing from keyholes doesn't seem a friendly thing to me. Now, the people that died in the house, Ronald DeFeo was not one of them. So why are the entities or whatever they say is haunting this house like a negative thing? Do you know what I mean? Like if it was a little 8-year-old boy.
That's a good perspective.
And yeah, and like the parents and whatever. Like I mean, they could have some sort of animosity.
I was gonna say
them,
maybe they're just angry. Their lives were taken. Somebody else is living in their home. They're probably angry with their son. But that is a good perspective. I mean, if they were just simple people their lives were taken too soon, I don't see why the spirits would be
that
so
angry,
malevolent.
So malevolent because they really did make it seem like there was just like all these horrible things going on, and like to keep going back to this green ooze coming out of keyholes, like
it is like one of the craziest things.
Yeah, like that's just wild. But I really do think, of course, they like played it up for the show of it.
Yeah, because what would be the explanation for that? Are the ghosts like doing goosebumps and freaking putting paint on the wall? Like, what is the explanation for that?
And how? Because I believe objects moving or like whispering and like all these like small, minute things, but like these insane imaginary pig friends. I don't know. I could see his mood changing. Maybe he's coming increasingly irritated because of the financial situation he's in, not necessarily because he's being haunted.
Yes.
But I also don't know if, maybe they left 28 days later because they couldn't afford the house anymore.
That's a lot of skeptic speculation on it.
They wanted to use this as a reason.
Yeah.
Like kind of like a lemon law type of thing, but for a house. I don't know if that's a thing, but like
I don't know if that's a thing. I mean, especially because it appears that the realtor had disclosed the murders to Lutz family, so I would imagine that.
Well, maybe
there's not like an escape clause or something like that on a home.
30 days.
Yeah, 28 days. Yeah,
I'm just saying. Yeah,
quite possibly. I guess maybe I didn't dig that deeply into this because like this bag is like the Warrens' involvement in it.
Yeah.
I definitely do question a lot of the aspects of this case.
Yeah.
And you made a good point that if there are just simple ghosts, like what is causing this ruckus?
Yeah, to where you're just kicking these people out after 28 days. It's that bad. Like,
not only that, I don't necessarily like. It wasn't like somebody got pushed down the stairs or knives were thrown across the room or whatever. It was just like the walls were oozing slime, a pig imaginary friend. He wanted to keep the fireplace burning and whatever else, his attitude shifted.
He was just definitely becoming, I'm just, throwing shit out in the air right now, but it could just be because his business was going in the ground and he needed a way out, and this was his way out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's my estimation of it. That's my skeptical mind speaking, but if I were to take and put on the other lens, I would think that maybe that negative energy that was within the home, like the animosity of the people who were killed, maybe influenced George to have this like negative weight on his shoulder. And I would say that it was him maybe psychoactively causing this ruckus. I don't really know. I mean, that doesn't sound right coming out, but
really negative like energy in this house. There was no positive energy after that. And it was a month before that.
A year.
Or I'm sorry, a year. I mean, that's still not a long time after something like that happens.
Not.
But maybe he was like seeing or hearing like certain things or whatever he claimed, and he like just played it up.
Yeah, like hyped it up.
Hyped it up, and then which it worked in their favor because they wrote a book about it and a movie and whatever else came along with it.
I mean, it definitely worked in their favor because the Paranormal Dream Team is about to arrive.
Yeah.
By the time the Warrens arrived in Amityville during the spring of 1976, the story was already making headlines. The Lutz family's claims were dominating the newspapers. Public fascination was growing by the day. The Warrens did not create the Amityville story. They became the most recognizable advocates. According to Ed and Lorraine Warren, they believed the house was experiencing genuine demonic activity. During their investigation, they walked through the home with clergy, photographers, and members of the media. Lorraine later described sensing an overwhelming darkness attached to the property. Ed publicly argued that what had occurred inside the house went far beyond an ordinary haunting. From that point onward, the Warrens became closely associated with Amityville. To believers, their involvement gave credibility to the haunting. To skeptics, their arrival represented something very different. Critics argued the Warrens had attached themselves to a story that was already generating enormous public attention, helping to reinforce its supernatural narrative while simultaneously increasing their own national profile. Supporters countered that they were simply investigating one of the most extraordinary paranormal claims ever reported. Once again, the audience was left with two competing interpretations, and deciding which one to believe depended entirely on how much faith you placed in the people telling the story. Whether the Amityville haunting was supernatural, psychological, or something in between, one fact is beyond dispute. It changed Ed and Lorraine Warren forever. Before Amityville, they were respected within the paranormal circles throughout New England. After Amityville, they became national figures. Their calendars filled with television appearances. Universities invited them to lecture. Publishers sought book deals. The Warrens maintained one point consistently throughout this period, and by all available accounts, they generally did not bill homeowners for visiting or investigating alleged hauntings. That statement is true, but it also tells only one part of the story. Because while the investigations themselves were typically free, the stories rarely remained that way. Did you see the investigation photos that the Warrens posted about the Amityville haunting? So, like, one of the most famous ghost photos captured was taken at Amityville by the Warrens.
Okay.
And it's this picture of what appears to be a little boy with glowing eyes. You've probably seen it. There's no way you haven't seen it.
I probably
have.
Standing,
it's like peeking out a doorway, standing by a staircase, little boy peeking out.
If I seen it, I'm sure I would recognize it. Yeah.
So I watched multiple things about this, and I believe it has been debunked because it's believed that one of the people that were going in with them to do this investigation were accidentally photographed. Because one of the guys that I believe was in this picture looked like this picture. But it also looks like one of the boys who were murdered.
So off camera, Gabby showed me the picture quick. And it does look pretty realistic to me. It does not look like a grown man with glasses on. It looks like a little boy, but that's just me.
So I do think it looks like a little boy, but my skeptical mind won't allow it.
Yeah. Okay. That's fair. That's fair.
It would be like...
It's a really good photo if it is real.
I was going to say, that would be like earth-shattering proof of the paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And my brain just will not allow that. And especially it will not allow me to believe that, knowing that the Warrens are the ones who presented this as fact.
Okay.
Because I'm questioning everything that they've ever said at this point now.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
That's fair. No, that's fair. That's fair.
So, like,
the picture itself, I believe in a way because it's not Photoshopped. They can't Photoshop pictures in 1974. I mean, they could have. I shouldn't even say that.
Now.
But I don't know. It's hard to. I don't know. I don't know where I stand on that one.
Do you possibly think it could have been a man on his knees? He I forget where the camera is.
That does not look like a man.
It doesn't.
That does not look like a man.
It doesn't look like a man. No.
It's a little boy.
But what if he was like, I don't know, like 19, 18-year-old at the time? Eight. You know.
That's John DeFeo.
Stop.
Seriously, it looks like a little boy.
It does look like him.
It really does. I
just can't accept it. Do you accept it, like, as a ghost photo? Like you said, it looks real, but like, do you think it's real?
It would be more believable to me to think a little boy broke into that house and snuck in this random picture and then snuck back out of the house than it would be to believe that it was like really John DeFeo as a ghost in that picture.
So now,
straight up.
Now you say that, I'm like, everything that Ed and Lorraine Warren have done previous to this, I would not put it past them to like bring a little boy on the case with them.
Okay.
To accidentally get photographed.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't either.
You wouldn't put it past them?
Knowing like what I know now, I do think that they would like, and not only that, but like that everybody else would go along with it.
Yes.
Too. Like they would know that it's happening. Like, okay, guys, we're gonna sneak a little boy in here.
Yeah.
And then
like it's a
once
production.
this case comes out, yes, like it's literally like a exactly.
Maybe they missed their calling. They should have just been like found footage filmmakers.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So, like, I know that The Conjuring was most of the world or audience's introduction to the Warrens at this time in 2013 when this movie came out. But I couldn't imagine at the time, like in the 70s, when the Warrens were popping off in this way. Like, I've watched multiple interviews of them talking about this case. And it seems like there are people that push back on them, and then there's others that just like eat this shit up.
I feel like people were more believable then than they are now.
Yeah.
Like people would like you took their word for things more than you do nowadays.
Yeah.
And that people, I mean, maybe they were trying to pull one over on everybody, but I still think like back then people were more respected. Their word was worth more, in that's probably why it went so far, because people really believed them.
Yeah,
like they did.
People
why wouldn't
believe
you?
It. I don't know.
Yes, people want to believe it, but they also, like I said, people like word was worth more then than it is now.
But the people that he would be talking to in these interviews, if they like disagreed with him or like tried to push back, I would like shout them down.
Oh, very likely.
You're probably one of the guys I chased down the street.
I'd like to know how much you're paying,
all the way down
especially you are getting paid off by the landlord to do this kind of stuff. Because you know
how much money are you making today?
You know as well as we do that what went on in that house actually occurred. We have the proof. We have people out here investigating who went through the same thing as that occurs.
Ed?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like
you don't know you weren't there or something like that. Like I don't know.
I wouldn't necessarily say in that way, but very strange. Very strange. Because if he was so instilled in his conviction, he wouldn't
need to
wouldn't need to yell about it. He wouldn't need to try and convince anybody. He would just believe it within himself, especially as a believer of faith.
Agreed.
Over the next several years, the Warrens developed a business model unlike anyone else working in the paranormal. A family would contact them, the Warrens would investigate. If they believed the case had a broader public interest, it might later appear during one of their college lectures. If enough attention followed, it could become a magazine article, a book, a television documentary, or eventually a feature film. To supporters, it was simply a way of educating the public about the reality of the supernatural while funding their future investigations. Critics viewed the arrangement very differently. They argued that although the initial investigation cost families nothing, the resulting stories could become valuable intellectual property, generating revenue long after the haunting itself had ended. As the Warrens' fame grew, so did the scrutiny surrounding their work. Then, an opportunity emerged from across the Atlantic. It would eventually inspire The Conjuring 2, and according to many of the people who actually invested the case, the Warrens played only a very small role. The year was 1977. Across the ocean in Enfield, England, Peggy Hodgson was raising 4 children on her own inside a modest council house. Like many working-class families in post-war Britain, they made do with what they had. Then, according to the family, strange things began happening. The furniture would move without explanation. Loud knocking sounds echoed through the walls. Toys shifted from across rooms. The 2 middle daughters, Margaret, age 13, and Janet, 11, claimed they were being targeted by an unseen force. The reports quickly attracted local newspapers. Soon after, they attracted paranormal investigators, the Society for Psychical Research. The society approached alleged hauntings with a mixture of skepticism and curiosity. Its investigators attempted to document claims while actively searching for conventional explanations. 2 researchers became deeply involved with the Hodgson family, Maurice Gross and author Guy Playfair. Unlike most investigators, they didn't spend an afternoon inside the home. They lived there for months, sleeping on floors, installing recording equipment, interviewing witnesses, documenting hundreds of reported incidents. They witnessed furniture moving, unexplained knocking, and objects apparently flying through rooms. Most famously, they documented Janet Hodson speaking in a deep, raspy voice that she claimed belonged to a deceased man named Bill Wilkins.
Well, that's good. I'm 72 years old. I come from Jewel Rock graveyard, and I have right near the church where Rita lives. And all my friends come from there as well. And we all make a game and go to the pub, and then we pick your house, because I used to live here. And I will tell you some more. And if you don't tell anyone else, just let Mr. Hook and Mr. Playback.
To this day, audio recordings of those sessions continue to divide opinion. Some believe they document an extraordinary phenomenon. Others argue Janet was demonstrating remarkable ventriloquism. The debate has never been settled. One detail, however, is often left out. Gross and Playfair also caught the girls faking certain incidents. On more than one occasion, investigators photographed Janet jumping from her bed after claiming supernatural levitation. Other times, objects believed to have been thrown by spirits appeared to have been moved by the children themselves. Years later, Janet herself admitted that she and her sister had fabricated a small percentage of the reported phenomena. Exactly how much remains debated. Janet estimated somewhere between 2 and 5%. According to her, they sometimes exaggerated events simply to see if the adults would believe them. For some skeptics, that admission discredited the entire case. For others, it proved something more nuanced. Children may embellish genuine experiences. That doesn't necessarily explain everything else investigators believe they witnessed. Even today, Enfield remains one of the most polarizing paranormal cases in modern history.
I like Enfield. I don't know. I do. I think I can agree with both sides of that too, where because they fabricated 2 to 5% of something that it discredits the whole thing. But I also do think that kids do a lot of things for attention based off of genuine experiences. So they could be embellishing like something that did happen to them, and that's their way of rationalizing it too, or making it seem as serious to that or to an adult as it was to them.
Yeah.
By embellishing it or whatever.
Making it bigger than it actually was.
Yeah, so that the adult cares about it more.
Yeah.
But I can also see where, you know, that it discredits it when they fabricate anything.
You've heard the audio, right?
Yes.
How do you feel about it?
I think it's creepy as hell, but I don't know. I believe it because it's just that strange. Because it's just that strange, and they have a genuine recording, and it does not sound like a little girl making up a voice.
It doesn't. But
like it sounds like an old man.
Crazy voices. I mean,
not like I don't know. I guess that's something for like people to be able to decide for themselves. Yeah. But in my opinion, I do not think that it sounds like a girl trying to change her voice.
Like any, I don't know, like vocal experts have like dissected it and determined whether like child female could actually like allow her vocal range to reach that level.
That's what I'm saying. Like it really does. I mean, I shouldn't say it doesn't at all, but I mean, I don't think it does either, but does not sound like that. But I mean, I wouldn't call it a ventriloquism. Like, what do you ventriloquism?
Yeah, right.
Like, what are you talking about?
I don't think that necessarily is the proper.
Unless there's literally an old man behind her. How is she being a ventriloquist to who?
No.
I don't know.
I don't really know the exact definition of ventriloquism, but
now going back to the Warrens fabricating evidence, is this something that they fabricated?
So I do not believe that the Warrens fabricated this, because at this point the Warrens weren't even involved.
Okay, so that's good to know.
This was Maurice and Guy Playfair.
I seen Conjuring 2, and I seen about Bill Withers and
Wilkins.
Yes. And does he just like did he used to live in that home? So in the movie, it was a gentleman that used to live in that home, died in the chair that she's sitting in, that he's talking through her.
Yeah, I remember the movie.
It's hard to decipher unless you go into
from fiction, right? It's crazy.
It is.
Yeah, and I think that those waters are so muddled after the Warrens had like poked their noses and everything and sensationalized everything, because like the investigators that were already there had documented actual paranormal activity happening, but they also caught the children faking paranormal activity. So it's like, I don't think that them faking the activity discredited it, because the investigators actually caught these things with their own eyes.
Agreed. I agree with that.
I believe that this could very well be an actual case of the paranormal, because the Society for Psychical Research didn't try to sensationalize their claims.
No, but the Warrens did.
Absolutely.
The Warrens did. Were they invited?
Oh, girl, we about to get into that.
Okay.
Did you see the photo of her like jumping?
Yes,
from the
with
bed?
like her arms back. Like it does look like she was jumping.
But
she wasn't levitating.
Why would that picture be the one that like blew up and was all over newspaper headlines? Like, it's very clearly a girl jumping from the bed, right?
Yeah, I guess just because it looks eerie and her face is like, and she looks like scary. I don't know. They wanted to find something.
How gullible are people?
It's a newspaper though.
Yeah.
I mean, or a book, or they're embellishing for a reason.
I mean, this picture still lives today and people still talk about it and still is debated. I don't know how that can be debated is my thing.
Well, at the end of The Conjuring 2, they put all those photos in the movie and the real story behind everything. So I don't know.
How is that debated?
Because people just believe what they want to believe. I agree. She definitely was not levitating. Yeah. Especially because, like, I feel like those things happen when people are alone, not when there's other people in the room. And her sister's like next to her in the picture. I
mean, I think if anything, like they were just jumping from bed to bed. They were living in the hype. You know, when you were a little kid and you were like making up games in your head, like, oh, I'm gonna
the floor's lava.
Yeah, playing the floor's lava. Exactly. Yep. Or I'm a monster. I'm gonna come and get you. I'm gonna jump from this bed to that bed. Like my kid does that stuff all the time. Like makes up games in his head or little scenarios. So I don't know. I think 11 is still a reasonable age to be playing around like that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's still a baby. She's still a baby.
By the summer of 1978, the Enfield story had become international news. And whenever a haunting dominated headlines, Ed and Lorraine Warren were rarely far behind. According to several accounts, the Warrens traveled to England hoping to observe the case firsthand. But they had not been invited. Maurice Grosse and Guy Playfair were already directing their investigation on the behalf of the Society for Psychical Research. The Warrens arrived as visitors. Exactly what happened during their brief time inside the Hodgson home has become another point of disagreement. According to Guy Playfair, Ed Warren appeared more interested in the publicity surrounding Enfield rather than the evidence itself. Playfair claimed Ed suggested the case could become extremely profitable if marketed successfully to American audiences. Playfair later described the visit as brief, unhelpful, and largely motivated by media attention. The Warrens never publicly accepted that characterization. Supporters have argued they traveled simply to observe the world's most significant alleged hauntings. Regardless, their involvement only lasted a short time. The investigators who remained with the family for more than a year were Grosse and Playfair, not the Warrens.
That pisses me off because that movie, he was singing them Elvis, they were cooking together, like, you fucking slime dogs.
Right,
sorry.
Like, created that was me. This but entire mythology.
They're like leeches.
Yeah.
They're like little paranormal leeches.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't remember the movie in its entirety, but wasn't Maurice Grosse actually a part of the movie?
Yeah.
He was, right? Mm-hmm. Because he was already there when they arrived and he had but I'm pretty sure they actually put in that movie that Maurice Grosse was the one who caught them faking the activity. And that's what made them the bad guy in the movie, because then nobody believed them, and then the paranormal activity was still happening, and then demonic possession happened, right? Yeah, it came a point. I think it was when she was like in that closet thing, all like hunched in there or whatever. And
I remember now, because when they seen her throwing the spoons and stuff too around the kitchen, and then all of a sudden they went in there and there was all this stuff in the kitchen, and then they caught her on film in the kitchen throwing all these things.
That sounds right. Yeah. Either way, though, it's wild to think that these two men who stayed with this family for an entire year and documented their haunting and their family lives and everything, to the point where they even caught them faking paranormal activity, took an extremely backseat the freaking Conjuring movie.
Oh God, yeah, they did. Though it's all about the Warrens.
Yeah, and
all about them.
They showed up. They were like, oh, got some paranormal activity happening here. That's pretty cool. Well, you can make a lot of money from that. And then dipped out?
Didn't fit their narrative for their Conjuring movie.
Why? That's a good like perspective. Did they realize like, oh, the kids were like faking or whatever, or like maybe you should keep it hush hush that they were faking, and you can market it correctly to the American audiences and sell a lot of money? And
I'm sure. Absolutely. And as Ed likes to do, so you've told me, if somebody tried to say that they were faking, he's just going to yell at them.
Yeah.
And act like they caught real research and whatever. And I don't know.
That entire movie, though, created such a narrative that there were these loving people. Like, they took the place of Maurice and Guy. And they were like, we're staying with the family. We're supporting them. We're sleeping on whatever guest beds and supporting this family. But they completely flipped the script, and now it's the Warrens doing that, and they're the loving ones, and they're the ones who play Elvis on the fucking guitar.
I think the nuns in all the Conjuring movies in some way or another, because it's connected to how Ed dies, I believe, and that's Lorraine keeps seeing. Yeah,
Valak, right?
Valak, yes. And it's in The Conjuring 2. So that just right there just shows me like how
another funny thing that we did these two cases together, because at the beginning of The Conjuring 2, that's when they did the seance in Amityville.
Yeah.
And she like reenacted like the rifle bullet shooting the kids. I don't know. I love Vera.
No, I know. Oh, yes. Yeah. It's the movie. Oh God, it's so hard because the real life cases are, I mean, they're amazing cases, but the Warrens just, I don't know. I have like so many opinions on this now because I know all these things about them that I didn't know before, but I think the Warrens really just like were like more so Ed than Lorraine. I feel like Lorraine just kind of was there to be there.
I think Lorraine was more along for the ride, and I would say that maybe Ed's personality was so strong that even if she did question him, it would be like,
no,
how else are we gonna make money, you know, like type thing, or like kind of guilt her into it.
But the movies are really so good, and they really play the Warrens to be these amazing people. And I hate to like discredit them because they really did do a lot for the paranormal community, but it does seem like it was mostly because they just wanted money out of it.
Yeah, I mean, if they had kept their cause extremely noble like it was in the beginning, I don't think I would even have these opinions on them.
Yeah,
because it was like, oh, you were just documenting it. You genuinely wanted to help people. And you know, I don't fault you for that. I would want to document this extraordinary thing too. And if you do make money from it, fine. By all accounts, like you make your money from being an honest researcher by putting your foot forward and being like, this is what I found. But you embellish everything. You put yourself and you stick your nose in other people's business. And it doesn't deserve.
And you weren't even invited.
Yeah,
I would completely like be fine with the fact that they were doing lectures. Like lectures are great,
absolutely,
especially if you're trying to become a paranormal investigator. If you're just simply interested in cases like this. So I think that the lectures were great. If they were making money off of those, that's great.
Yeah, fine.
But yes, when you start turning them into these movies and so on and so forth, I mean. But
magazines and
I can also say people really wanted I feel like it's not just them. They also have a marketing team. They have management at this point and whatever.
They got a solid marketing team.
Yes. That is pushing them to do these things that they might, I mean, not that they don't want to do, but that they otherwise wouldn't have embellished possibly. So I don't know. It's hard to say.
It is hard to say, especially in like the 70s. I mean,
right.
Nowadays, everybody has a marketing team and a handler and a fluffer and whatever.
Like
you got somebody holding your fucking hand, telling you what the fuck to do.
Let me fluff you. Yeah. No, I know. It is like that, though. It really is. I would like to think that they were, you know, if they didn't otherwise have this marketing push constantly in their face, that they would actually be there to genuinely just help these people. I would like to think that, okay? Because Patrick and Vera, they want me to believe that, okay?
They sold me too. I mean, I believed the hype. I did. Mm-hmm. Till I started digging into it. And I want to say, like, I don't remember what initially started making their case crumble to me. I want to say it was Bailey Sarian.
Okay.
Because she covered the Warrens too.
I love Bailey.
Yes, me too. She's a queen. When audiences watched The Conjuring 2, they saw Ed and Lorraine Warren at the center of the Enfield haunting and made for compelling cinema. Historically, the picture is considerably more complicated. The Warrens were present, but only briefly. The investigators who documented the overwhelming majority of the case were British researchers whose name many viewers had never heard. It's a reminder that movies don't always rewrite history by inventing events. Sometimes they simply change who gets remembered. By the mid-1980s, Ed and Lorraine Warren had become the names people called when they believed they had exhausted every other option. Reporters knew who they were, television producers certainly knew who they were, and increasingly so did frightened families. But with every new investigation came another question. Was the Warrens' growing reputation the result of extraordinary cases? Or were the extraordinary cases becoming famous because the Warrens were attached to them? That question would follow them to a quiet Connecticut town, where one family's nightmare would eventually become known around the world as a haunting in Connecticut.
Okay, guys, that was today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned next week for the final part where we wrap up the Warren files. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.